Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are getting into something absolutely critical for recovery, but it's something we don't always talk about enough. We're talking about the mental battle, the one that happens inside your own head. We're going to look at real, proven ways to win that mind game.
So let me just start by asking you a question. When you really think about it, what's the single hardest part of changing a major behavior, especially when it comes to substance use? Is it the physical stuff? Is it dealing with other people? Or is it something else?
Well, for so many people, the biggest fight isn't out there in the world. It's right here. It's that constant chatter, that internal dialogue that can pop up and try to undo all of your hard work. This right here is the real battleground.
And that's exactly what this explainer is all about. We're diving deep into some real strategies to manage those thoughts, and more than that, how to turn that inner voice from your worst enemy into your greatest ally for success.
Okay, first things first, let's just get this out on the table. Having thoughts about using does not, I repeat, does not mean you're failing. It's a totally normal, expected part of the process, especially early on. The goal isn't to magically never have these thoughts. The real goal is to know exactly what to do with them when they show up.
So how does that happen? How does one little thought in your mind end up leading to an action you're desperately trying to avoid? Well, it's a process, and once you understand it, you can interrupt it. Let's unpack what we call addictive thinking. You'll hear these called cognitive distortions, which is just a fancy way of saying faulty or distorted ways of thinking. And this is so important because it reframes the whole problem, right? This isn't about being a bad person or being weak. It's about recognizing specific, unhelpful patterns of thinking, patterns that you can learn to spot and change.
And this is basically how it goes down. It's a chain reaction. Step 1, a thought just appears out of nowhere. Step 2, that thought kicks off a feeling. Maybe it's a craving or stress or even nostalgia. And if you don't do anything about it, that feeling can push you right into step 3, the action of using. Our entire job is to find a way to break that chain.
All right, so let's meet some of the usual suspects. We're going to go through a kind of rogues gallery of the most common thought traps out there. Honestly, you can think of them like those super annoying pop-up ads in your brain that are trying to sell you something you know is bad for you.
Now this one is tricky because it sounds so positive, right? I've got this. But it's actually really dangerous. That feeling of being totally cured can make you lower your guard. You stop doing the work, you put your tools away, and then you're left completely unprepared when a real trigger comes along.
Ah, yes, the classic. We've all heard this one. Just one won't hurt. What's the big deal? This is the trap of minimizing. It's that little voice trying to convince you that a tiny slip-up is no big deal, when in reality, for so many people, that one harmless drink or cigarette is the very thing that kicks off a full-blown relapse.
This is a big one. It's this really powerful false belief that all the good stuff in life, parties, relaxing, hanging out with friends, is somehow permanently tied to using. It makes sobriety sound like a punishment, like you're signing up for a life of boredom. And that's a really tough lie to fight.
You know this one. It's the thought that positions using as a solution, as a tool. Life gets hard, stress piles up, and this thought pops in and says, hey, I've got an escape hatch for you. It's that I need a break button, and boy, can it be tempting to press when you're having a rough day.
And finally, we have the secrecy trap. This is the thought that says, hey, if no one sees it, did it really happen? It's all about getting away with it. But it totally ignores the most important person who will know, you. It ignores the guilt, the self-betrayal, and the progress you'll lose.
So just being able to spot those thoughts is a huge win. That's step 1. But seeing them isn't quite enough, is it? Now we need to get practical. It's time to build a mental toolkit filled with actual strategies you can use to fight back.
And here it is. This is your arsenal. And you'll notice it's not just one thing. It's a whole system. You've got everything in here from just paying attention to your thoughts to actively reminding yourself of the pros and cons, all the way to changing how you see yourself. Every single one of these is a powerful tool.
But if we had to pick one tool that can make a massive difference, like right away, it's got to be the counterstatement. This is where you get proactive. You don't just notice the thought, you prepare an argument against it ahead of time, and you fight back with facts and truth. Here's a perfect example. That old thought pops up. I can't have fun without this. But you're ready. You come right back with your prepared counterstatement. I used to think that, but I know I can find new ways to have fun. And the best part, it'll be real fun that I actually remember. See how that works?
Let's do one more. The thought says, come on, a few won't hurt. But your counterstatement shuts it down with cold, hard facts. Nope, that's exactly how I relapsed last time. I know that even one can start the whole thing over.
and it's not worth the guilt and losing all this progress. It's like having the smart, sober version of you ready to win any argument.
Now, here's the really cool part. When you keep using these tools, something starts to shift. You move beyond just playing defense against bad thoughts. You actually start building something new. You start creating a new identity. You might see worksheets like this and think of it as homework. Don't. Think of this as a gym for your mind. It's a training ground. Every time you practice, you're building a new mental muscle. You're doing reps until these new, healthy responses become your automatic default reaction. You are literally rewiring your brain.
And this is where it all leads. This is you going on offense. Instead of waiting for a negative thought to show up, you start your day by telling yourself who you are. I am a sober person. You see yourself making it through the day. You set the tone. You define yourself by your goal, not by your struggle.
Because in the end, that's the big takeaway here. Your thoughts, they're just suggestions. They are not commands. They are clouds passing in the sky. By learning to see them, challenge them, and replace them, you take the pen back into your own hand. They don't write your story. You do.
So, we'll leave you with this to think about. We all know that being prepared is half the battle. So, what's one of your common thought traps? And more importantly, what's the strong, true, powerful counterstatement you can have locked and loaded for the next time it shows up? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.